you had this really touching story about when you had your first Christmas without your kids for the first time in your house, and you thought you were going to have a certain kind of day. Sometimes, like, the loneliness, I imagine, of divorce feels very permanent. And then all of a sudden, it sounds like it wasn't.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the first couple of Christmases post divorce were surprisingly tender. Um, and I mean, neighbors showed up. Like, I went for a run one Christmas. My kids were not in my house. I had to wait a few hours to get them back to me. And, there was a knock at my door, and someone was standing there with cake and said, I just saw
Aw.
you run by my house. And I remember that this is your first Christmas without your kids on Christmas morning. And I remember having that experience the first Christmas after my divorce. So here is some cake. And then we're both in tears as I'm sweating and
Aw.
running clothes, and she's handing me cake. And then as I'm standing at my kitchen counter eating cake with my hands like a raccoon in the alley, still in my running clothes, there's a knock at my door again, and it's another neighbor bringing me treats. Like, I know this is a hard year. I thought you might use, and I just thought, you know what? I'm not alone. And I will say that as
Yeah.
much as the book has been about me realizing I'm still me, and I've sort of like, I predated my marriage,
Yeah.
which is important to remember, and I have outlasted it. It's also, I think, been a real sort of like study in community, and
Yeah.
how much I have leaned on the sort of grace of other people, friends who showed up with food, people who took me to happy hour, friends who were like, let's start roller skating because it's a pandemic and we can't go anywhere. People who sent gifts from, all around the world. Just like, I know you're going through a hard time. Here's a crystal. Here's a
Oh.
book that I loved. Here's a tincture I made that's good for stress. Here's tea.
Yeah.
It whenever you're feeling like, I have made a mess of my life, or my life is a mess, and then someone offers you kindness, it makes you feel worthy in a way that you might not have been feeling, 5 minutes
Yeah.
prior.